In one study that was done, nurses recorded 132 end-of-life visits with patients who were about to die. And in 85% of those visits, the patient laughed. Why on earth are we laughing in situations like that? Funerals, arguments, any sort of bad news, you tell yourself, please just don't laugh, don't laugh, don't laugh, and your brain ignores it and does it anyway. It feels wrong, but actually it's your biology, your social wiring, and your behaviour all at play to do something that actually benefits you. So let's go through all three of them, shall we? I'm Lewis, I learn things for a living, and every study I've used, as always, will be in the description. Sometimes your brain will hit the wrong button in your head, because there's two key areas of the brain that are at play that make you laugh when you shouldn't. First is the amygdala, and that's kind of like your brain's alarm system. It detects the grief, the stress, the fear, all of those negative emotions, and it sends a signal out to the rest of the brain saying, look, whatever's going on here, this is serious. And then immediately after that, the prefrontal cortex fired. And this is kind of the emotional and behavioral filter of the brain. It stops you from doing or saying things that shouldn't be done in any given situation. But when someone is under a lot of stress or they're extremely emotional, they don't fire off next to each other. They fire off at the exact same time. And that isn't intentional. These two systems are meant to cancel each other out. They're meant to balance each other. But when they're fired off at the exact same time, the brain gets confused. It short circuits. And so it misreads this spike of stress, this spike of emotion as a moment of relief. And what's the thing that you do after you feel stressed and then you get that moment of relief? The natural response is laughter. Think about it. After you get jump scared, for instance, what's the immediate thing you do after you've calmed down? You start to laugh. And that's not because you find it funny, it's because the brain itself has been overloaded to the point where it's broken. But as I'm sure you're aware, the brain is really, really smart. And I mean, it's been doing its thing, it's been solving problems for over 5,000 years at this point. It's had plenty of time to evolve. So my question is this: why on earth are we still laughing in situations that we shouldn't? Is the brain really getting confused, or is it doing it on purpose? Neurologists have documented very extreme cases of this happening, and I'm going to pronounce this very wrong, but it's a condition called Witzelsucht. This is where physical damage to the frontal lobe of the brain has been done that causes people to laugh or even tell jokes in extremely tragic circumstances. They can't help it. Their emotional regulation system is physically damaged. But you don't need brain damage in order to have gone through something like this. It can happen to quite literally anyone. And that's because it's not just a biological thing, is laughing. It's also a heavily social activity. A neuroscientist called Robert Provine said in one of his books that I'll link in the description that we are 30 times more likely to laugh at something if we experience it with other people compared to if we experience it alone. And that is genuinely fascinating because it suggests that laughter didn't really evolve for humorous reasons. It evolved as a form of connection. Think about it for a second. When you laugh in a group setting, it's basically you telling people, I'm okay, you're okay, oh my God, we're having such a good time right now, and I want you to know that. And that is backed by research, like no laughing grey matter, for example, which shows that laughing lights up regions of the brain that are responsible for emotional control and arousal control. In other words, laughter is like the emotional release valve for the brain. It brings you back to your normal. Your brain has evolved in a way to trick itself on purpose in a way to benefit you. So when you laugh at something awful, it's not your brain sabotaging you, it's actually trying to protect you. Okay, biology is done now, thank God. So onto a more psychology point of view. Why do we actually laugh when there's more people around? Because it's not just one reason, there is multiple. What was Robert Provine truly discovering with that study? Well, brains hate awkwardness. When tension builds in a group of people, your brain uses quite literally the oldest trick in the book to try and make everyone more comfortable. And that, of course, is laughter. It's kind of like your mind saying, look, everything's fine, it's all fine, accept me, please don't push me out of this group. It's kind of like a defense mechanism of the brain, because we are social beings. We all like being social, regardless of what you actually think. And most of the time, this works perfectly. It makes everyone happier. And that's because collective laughing, or just laughing in general, releases endorphins. And these are the feel-good hormones, I guess you could say. A 2012 Oxford study even found that shared laughter releases that much endorphins in a group that it raises the entire group's pain threshold. Things feel less painful when we laugh. It literally makes us feel safer together. But that safety system isn't perfect. And this isn't confirmed, by the way, but researchers think that the brain has learned to treat laughter as a sign that everything is okay. So when things aren't okay, sometimes it sends that signal out anyway, almost like a way to try and mask over the discomfort. This is what psychologists Peter McGraw and Caleb Warren describe in a slightly different way, with the benign violation theory. It states that we will laugh at something if it breaks the rules. It's kind of like if your coworker shouted at a random employee because they didn't tip them enough or something. But you'll only laugh in that situation if you also feel safe. So if that customer then started beating your mate up, you aren't going to be laughing, are you? In both of these cases, laughter is doing the same thing. It's releasing the tension from the discomfort that you feel in that situation. The problem with that, however, is the brain doesn't always know the difference between mild discomfort and actual real danger. They send off very, very similar emotional signals. And when your brain guesses wrong, laughter will show up in situations where it absolutely shouldn't. For example, torture. But is that not intentional? Because, as we've said, laughter increases the pain threshold, and that's something that you might want if you're getting tortured. But this isn't the end of it, because after you laugh in a situation where you absolutely shouldn't, you get some very weird looks, as I'm sure we've all experienced once or twice. And this is where your behaviour starts to change, and it makes it 10 times worse. The second you think to yourself, don't laugh, you immediately want to laugh even more. And that's because, well, your body is tensing now. You're focusing on not laughing, and that tension needs to be released. In fact, this is something that you can try with your friends. When you're all laughing at something that's so incredibly funny, just out of nowhere go, it's not funny. It's not funny, don't laugh. I can say with 99.9% certainty, they will start laughing harder. Psychologist James Gross found in 1988 that the more you try and suppress your emotions, the more your body will react. Your heart rate rises, your stress hormones go up, your body just ramps up. So the more that you try and act calm, the worse it actually gets. This is the don't laugh loop. Your brain says, don't laugh. So you start to focus on it. And that focus builds tension. That tension converts into energy, and that energy needs to be released, which of course, as we know, is laughter. It's your brain trying to calm you down with the worst method physically possible. You can't fully stop this happening, unfortunately. However, you can make it a lot easier to recover from. You can make it less awkward when you laugh in a situation that you shouldn't be laughing. So what do you do after it happens? Well, you start simple. You just acknowledge it. And even saying something as small as, sorry, that was my nerves, might sound simple, but it works. Naming exactly what you're feeling helps the rational part of the brain subdue the emotional part of the brain. Matthew Lieberman's UCLA study that he did in 2007 shows that naming an emotion can reduce its intensity. Next up, you need to be honest but light in a way. Saying something as simple as, "I don't know why that happened," turns it from a very awkward interaction into something that's human. Research has shown that self-deprecating humour can make people seem more likeable and also way more authentic. I believe as well it also covers this in the 48 Laws of Power, but I'll be genuinely honest here, I haven't read it yet. I'm getting to it. Next, just don't over-explain it. The longer you talk about it, the longer it's awkward. Sociologist Irving Goffman found that people naturally want to help you save face from a bad situation or a mistake, but only if you don't linger on it. And finally, just do a small physical reset. One slow breath, for instance, works extremely well in this situation. Slow exhaling activates the vagus nerve, which, I'll be simple, just kind of takes you out of stress mode. So the next time this happens, just don't panic. Remember that your brain does this on purpose. I mean, it's messy, but your brain is just doing its best to protect you. Did you know that the language you speak can restrict you from thinking certain thoughts? That sounds very weird, but it is true, and I explain it here. But if that isn't up your street, there's plenty of other videos on that channel there if you want to go and have a look at them. I'll see you next time, chaps. Thanks for tuning in. Cheers.